Hey everybody, welcome to my video. Today I will tell you about some stories that I learned. First, I will tell you about the anniversary gift. The story has two main characters. They are Joe, who's a carpenter. He builds houses in the Highlands, and Stella, who's a sailor, was Joe's wife. She used a needle and thread to sew against clothing. She always used beautiful fabric to make clothes. Since they didn't have plenty of money, they lived in an old shed. Water dripped in when it's rained. Uh, they had broken chairs instead of a couch. But they had coverheads and flour from the mill for bread. Together, they trimmed the bushes to make the house look nicer. Mm, um, they were Stella and Joe were poor, but they were not ashamed. They were happy. Sometimes they walked downtown. They looked in, sometimes in the evening, they looked in store windows and dreamed. Stella wanted a hairbrush with an ivory handle, and because she pulled her hair upwards every day because she didn't have a brush to make it nice. Joe wanted to fix his watch out his grandfather's watch. For the anniversary, Stella wanted to get Joe what he wanted. But after doing the arithmetic, she realized that it would take at least 6 months to save enough money. So she decided to cut off all of her hair and sold it. Meanwhile, Joe knew that he never fixed his watch, so he polished it and sold it. On the anniversary, the door burst open. Joe was excited to give Stella his present. But first, Stella gave him the money to fix the watch. When Joe saw his wife without any hair, he smiled. I sold my watch to buy you something, he said, and he gave Stella the brush, and she laughed. They were both willing to give up something special to make each other happy. Okay, that's the end of the story. I'll continue with story 2. Is Chef Dan. Dan was an evil sheriff of Ocean Town. He was cruel as a devil. He worshipped money, but he paid his police officer almost nothing. Police officers almost nothing. So the police, the police hate him. Hate him, but he didn't care. He only cared about his money. The residents who inhabited Ocean Town disliked him. He then enforced cruel laws. Once, he even put his own brother in jail for just throwing a coin into a fountain. Sometimes sometimes he pointed his gun into the air and pulled the trigger. He didn't want the bullets to hit anyone. He just wanted to scare people with a loud sound. Finally, the residents decide. Um, finally, the residents decide that they had to get rid of them, Sheriff Dan. With the understanding, they marched to Dan's house. He was startled when he ran to the door. When he opened the door, the crowd jumped on him. They used a rope to tie him to a chair. Dan yelled, "Get your hands off me! I'll put you all in jail for the rest of your lives." The crowd didn't listen. Uh, they they carried him to a harbor and put him aboard a vessel. Uh, Dan, be, Dan began to be scared. Dan is so scared that he began to sweat. Uh, and he said, "If you let me go, I will give you all my money." The crowd said back, "Sheriff, we don't care about your money. Uh, we 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 know that you will never change." And the boat drifted the out the port, and then had been never seen again. Mm, so finally, they voted for a new sheriff who was kind and fair. Okay, I will tell you the last story is Matthew learns a lesson. Matthew was a sensible boy. He always kept his room tidy and had a natural literary aptitude. Uh, One day, he hoped to have career in journalism. The adolescent spent much of his time for reading and and liked having 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 privacy because his because he was quite quite he was quite. Another boy asked, "Do you want to go to Ned's restaurant?" Matthew said, "Sure." The boys walked to the restaurant. They were going to have slices of pizza. They ordered their food and drank soda with straws. They ate until their bellies swelled up. Matthew was having so much fun. One of the boys said, "Let let's live without paying." Matthew didn't want, but he thought that if he didn't, they would like him. But suddenly, a waiter yelled, "Stop!" and he called, and the police arrived and said, leaving without paying for your meal it is the same as stealing. Next, the police officer said the restaurant wants justice, so next week you have to go to court to let the jury decide your punishment. When he went to court, the judge asked, do you have anything to say, Matthew? He said like, I feel sorry what I've done, and I realized that real friends won't ask you to do something illegal. The jury let Matthew have his liberty, but they made Matthew pick up some trash as punishment. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.